How's everybody doing? Good morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're watching this, wherever you're watching this. Jags to Riches, James Peters. Welcome to Celtics Corner. I appreciate you and your time more than you could ever know. Straight to it. Boston Celtics with a big win last night against the Miami Heat, the first seeded Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference. 122-92, if not mistaken, off the top of my head, is the final score, and what an absolute phenomenal win it was. Top to bottom performances. So we're going to quickly recap the game, go over the box score, some of my key takeaways, and this is actually an interesting perspective because, as you all know, Celtics Corner, what this channel was built based around was all Celtics all the time. Like all of me and Bobby's, Celtics content could just be flooded here. We obviously want to build it, get more people involved and actually, not to get into everything, but that allows my Jags channel, his Be Smooth channel, to allow us to do whatever we want, so to speak. So what you'll start seeing is me posting other teams. I'm going to start covering the NBA in general, and I'll be posting that on my Jags channel. And I thought the best way to incorporate it was to simply review the teams when the Celtics are playing them. So meaning that yesterday I spent the entire day, and shout out to it's either Jay in the comment section actually recommended what he gave me and Bobby a huge compliment, simply saying, I'm not even a Celtics fan, I just like y'all shit. Bro, I appreciate that. But he said, I'm a Heats fan. I asked him, who do you rock with? He said, Miami. Dude, I'm just north of Miami. I've lived in Florida, practically, my entire life. And I watch just as many Heat games as the Celtics. So I spent yesterday working on a Miami Heat deep dive, kind of going into a contender series. Are they legit? So very interesting and unique perspective, just deep diving into that roster. And guys, what a phenomenal team that is, and how extremely well they are built. Now, obviously, they weren't at the full speed. We'll get into all the details of the game, but let's get straight to it. Boston Celtics, 122-92, looking at the box score. Now, as you know, my player of the game is always going to be right below me. It's easy to say Jalen, right? Plus 28. He had 29 points, 11 for 19, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. I mean, even reading it makes me want to grab his picture and put it there. But, and forgive me, Marcus, for not getting a better picture. This is just the most readily available one I had right in front of me because you look a little salty here. But it's Marcus Smart to me, guys, just because, and we'll get to it, but just this game alone, plus 25. He had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists. He was 6 for 9 from the field, 2 steals, and was just throwing darts, some dimes out there. No looks, just beautiful passes to Rob. I mean, he was just, like I said, we'll get to Marcus Smart here shortly. But looking, like I said, at the rest of the team, you got Jason Tatum, 7 for 15. He had 20 points. He was a plus 30. He had 12 rebounds, 5 assists. We had our boy Rob, Time Lord, 3 for 5 from the field. He had 6 points. He had 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 2 blocks. Al Horford, in 32 minutes for Al, had 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. And coming off the bench, as you see, a bunch. I mean, we went very, very deep into our rotation. You're talking about almost, 8 players? I'm not counting, but it looks like. So you're talking about almost 13. You had Grant Williams in 24 minutes with 10 points. You had Josh Richardson going up against his old team. He had 11 points in 22 minutes. And like I said, you had Sam Hauser coming in, hitting a 3. You had Bruno Fernando hitting a 3. Romeo getting some run. Just, Peyton Pritchard. It was just one of those games you like to see where the Celtics get out, to a good lead and allow some of the youth to get some good run. But transitioning over to our opponent and showing them respect, their player of the game was Max Strus. Man, what a story this guy is, right? And like I said, we'll get to him more. Well, no, actually, we probably won't, because check that out, guys. I'll be dropping the Miami Heat. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to call it yet, but like I said, it's going to be like an NBA contender series, and it's the Miami Heat deep dive. Check that video out, because I went deep into this guy, and just this entire roster is just nasty. But right off the top, guys, they were missing Jimmy Butler. They were missing Kyle Lowry. They were missing PJ Tucker. So they're missing 3 of their big 4 right off the bat. But again, they had Max Strus in 41 minutes. He had 27 points, 9 3-pointers. The man shot 17 3-pointers. Hit 9 of them. Jesus. Who else do you have? You had, Bam. He had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He got teched up in the third quarter. He was a negative 20. You had, is it Cody or Caleb? You had one of the Martin twins with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Coming off their bench, Tyler Hero in 29 minutes, 5 for 18. He had 13 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Duncan Robinson, only 6 points, 2 for 8 from the 3. Gabe Vincent, backup point guard to Kyle Lowry with 10 points, 9 assists. He actually did have 2 steals as well. Now, just transitioning back, and forgive me because I will be periodically looking at my notes. This was a game that the Celtics really did dominate. I mean, they led by as many as 32, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a 30-point plus lead at a point in this game. Now, the C's have won 4 out of the last 5 games. They were coming off of a win against the New Orleans Pelicans, which was, 97-107. Now, that was one of those games where both of the Jays had 30-point performances. You had JT with 38, 8, and 7, and Jaylen Brown with 31. We know the Celtics are 8-0 when both of the Jays score 30-plus points. They're 4-0 just this season. Now, another crazy stat. After this Heat game, guys, the Celtics are 22-9 this season when they shoot 34% or higher from 3. 22-9. And that's just 34%. So they shot 38% today. Jaylen Brown, his 4th straight 25 or more point performance. Jason Tatum's on 6 or more, 20 straight. But in addition to that, you've got last game against New Orleans. Jason Tatum had his 16th 30-point game of the season. Jaylen Brown, after tonight's game against Miami, like I said, he's had, 4 straight 25s, but he's also had 11 30-point performances this year. Now, they are going to finish the month of January with a record of 10-6, which is actually better than both the December, which was a tough month, but as well as the November, which was a really solid month. I believe they went 9-6 that month. So they actually got the 10th win this month. But the Celtics would actually, their defense, man, it was the defense that set the tone in this game. They forced 18 turnovers, guys. And if you look just in their last 5 games, with exception to who? Atlanta, every single one of them, they held their opponent to under 100 points. Look, tonight, what was it? 92. New Orleans, 97. The Kings, 75. The Wizards, 87. They've been playing some really solid defense here lately. Now, again, you have to pump the brakes. There was no Jimmy, Kyle, PJ Tucker, excuse me, Jesus. No PJ, no Kyle, no Jimmy. The Heat actually have lost 2 straight. They were coming off of that triple overtime, just grueling matchup this past weekend against Toronto. They're in game 1 of what's going to be a 6-game road trip, 11 days on the road. Ooh. Now, just kind of going over the game script a little bit briefly. The C's came out 21-7 point lead in the first quarter. Miami would respond with an 18-5 run in the second, tying it up at 32 apiece. Now, the C's would quickly respond after an Ime timeout and take it into a 22-13 run to close the half. Now, when Bam got teched up in the third quarter, it was 67-52 already at that time. And by the time he returned with, I think, a minute or 2 left in the third quarter, it was 94-70. So at that point, it was pretty much a 20 or more point lead. And from there on out, guys, the Celtics pretty much just cruised and controlled. And like I said, it got to the point where they even were able to sub out everyone and bring in, some of the younger guys to get them some good run. I want to take a second and speak about Marcus Smart. Why is it that he was my player of the game, right? Marcus Smart is he not just one of those just right when you feel like you figured him out? And actually, we have figured him out. It's like, this is Marcus in a nutshell. When you're frustrated with him and you feel like you've had enough, he's going to, at any point, go on a run. that is just going to be solid as hell and remind you exactly why you love him and why this team needs him. And then when you're at, everything's good, he's going to go on a couple game stretch where he shoots like, lights out, bricks, builds, some construction with how many shots he missed. I mean, it's just, and just have you go, that is Marcus Smart, is it not? I just made a video, 3 video. I mean, when he was injured, about rumors of him getting traded and how it was a strong chance that he wouldn't finish the year, might get traded in the offseason, blah, blah, blah. How many times? I mean, now, granted, we've heard about Marcus Smart and the trade rumor in the market for years now, but how many times again this year is just Marcus Smart. Excuse me. And what's ironic is then if he comes back, right? And almost with a point to prove. He almost said it himself, like, Ime doesn't believe in me, I mean, since returning, guys, his assists, look, 6, 7, 2, 12, and 7. The one game he had the 2 assists, that was against Atlanta, and that was a game he actually scored 17 points. He is averaging 10 points and 7 assists since returning. He has not shot double-digit attempts any game. You're pretty much seeing him shoot these stat lines of like 8 attempts, 4 or 5 for 8, 1 for 3 from three-pointer, 11 points, 7 assists. I mean, this is perfect. That is what I'm saying. We won't ramble numbers no more, but guys, the eyes don't lie, right? I'm a numbers guy. Bobby's a see it to believe it guy, right? The eyes don't lie and the numbers don't either. I mean, since returning and just what he means to his team, the ball movement, the fluidity, obviously on the defensive end, he's arguably the best defensive guard in the game. You know what I mean? So we don't even need to talk about that, but I think it's been undeniable. Has it not? I mean, this core, the numbers speak for themselves. They are one of the best and most productive starting units in the NBA when playing together. The problem is they are also at the bottom when it comes to the amount of time they play together, because one of them or multiple are always out and injured. Now, we are healthy right now for the first time in God knows how long. Knock on every piece of wood that you see around you, start saying whatever it is you need to say, like let's, fingers crossed, toes crossed that it stays that way, because they're coming off of a hot month, 10-6 finish. Everyone seems to be playing really, really well recently, guys. I mean, if you just look at this recent win stretch, I mean, like I said, 4 out of the last 5 is what we were saying. Subtract that Atlanta win. They beat the Wizards. That was a 51-point performance by Jason Tatum. Kings, they followed that up with the Kings win, 50-plus point win by the Celtics in a game where both the Jays went for 30. New Orleans Pelicans, the Jays followed up their 30-point each with doing it again in a win against New Orleans on the road. And then they just beat Miami by 20-something points, right? 30, excuse me. They're 2-0 against the Heat this year, and they've outscored them, I think, 40, nearly 50 points combined in the 2 times they played Miami. Again, I cannot stress how good this Miami Heat team is built. Call this a quick preview, into my Heat video. But look, this is what you're looking at out of their starting 5. I mean, you're talking Kyle, Jimmy, Duncan Robinson with PJ Tucker and Bam. I just have this dream of if I was able to take the Miami Heat roster and just put the Jalen and Jason and insert them too. Guys, they have a 40 career point shooter from 3 in Duncan Robinson. PJ Tucker is nearly, and this is no bullshit, he's nearly shooting 50% from 3 this year. Look at this. PJ Tucker, 3-point percentage, 47 on 3 attempts. So you've got Duncan Robinson and PJ Tucker out there with, by the way, Kyle Lowry, who's a guy who's had multiple 40% from 3. I think he shoots a career, maybe not the best, 37, 36, somewhere in there, but it's on like 7, 8 attempts. So you've got 3 sharp shooters out there, which are 2 stars in Jimmy and Bam, right? You bring in Tyler Hero as a 6th Man of the Year candidate. Then you've got Vincent, Strus, Martin. Every one of those guys are in the high 30, near 40% three-point shooters. Every one of those guys I just named averages between 9 and 11 points per game. So think of that. You're bringing in Hero and those other 3 I just named. So 4 guys, all 4 of them are near 40% three-point shooters, and all 4 of them, like I said, can get you double digits, with one of them a 6th Man of the Year averaging 20. Just to think of how well that team is constructed. You have Bam, who I believe is the best center in the game outside of the big 2 in Jokic and Embiid. I think Bam is the best big man in the game. I will repeat that. I just think his skill set, versatility, I think he has arguably the single greatest defensive play of all time against Jason Tatum in that playoff game in the Eastern Conference Finals. That block, that game-winning block, is absolutely just insane. But anyways, guys, big win for our Boston Celtics. We are rolling right now. Momentum is high going into a new month, February. We do got the Hornets coming up. Hopefully we can get a little redemption against them. But otherwise, guys, go check out that Miami Heat breakdown. It's a deep dive into their season thus far. I kind of go into just their key players, their additions, what their seasons look like this far. And basically I'm asking the question, are they legit? Are they an actual contender this year? Spoiler warning, yes. Jags to riches, James Peters, thank you so much for your time. Take care, guys.